The presentation is a kind of sandwich with descriptive slide that I will go rather quickly. And in between there are theoretical slides which will require a little bit more time. And then more descriptive again, because it's just to show the outfit that we are created in Rome for developing a culture of innovation, a diffuse culture of innovation. So, now this is the problem that I'm concerned with. No? Collective changes of conscience and behavior toward responsible citizenship and sustainable development based on freedom for whole person development, greater solidarity in social relations, and care for the planet. So that's the challenge. It's a pretty big thing, but we are having a go at trying to build something which is holistic for this type of problem. This is something that I will skip. I will just assume, because it's part of the driving reason. Basically, we live in a world of continuous change. Science, technology, organization are advancing very quickly. And at the same time, this is blending up with the world in crisis. So the turbulences are quite massive. And this requires a new type of education as far as we are concerned. The educational system that exists today in the universities and schools is a system for another age. Some approaches for collective changes of consciousness and behavior. Here you are, the rational approach, case studies, information, data, studies. I mean, we are flooded by studies all the time. No? And the expectation is that, okay, cross your fingers. Let's see whether there is some behavioral change after all the studies and data that we pump into society. Another one is technology will do it for ourselves. So here you have two expressions. No? Technology has allowed me to completely reinvent myself. On the other hand, the technological fix. There is a problem, technology will solve it. But it may not happen soon enough. This is a climate change, This is a climate change summit, Mount Everest. So that's the top of Mount Everest. And we have finally have a binding international agreement to control greenhouse. It looks like this is what's happening, no? We know that Rio has been some time ago, and the IPCC has just shown again that the figures of carbon are still going up, etc. Then there is another way, which is what I see as the syndrome of St. Paul, which is catastrophe. One day you are hit by something that you don't expect, and your mind is changed completely, right? So St. Paul was the greatest persecutor. After the blindness and the shock, became the greatest evangelist of it all. So catastrophe is another way of changing consciousness and behavior. But I have known catastrophes, so I don't relish them. So I prefer education. And here we talk about a system, experiential education for life, problem solving and open social innovation. By blending these three concepts, we will see, I'm going to show you that we are working in trying to create a new type of education. So education for life, at its simplest, no, is three elements of content. So far, what we have most is standardized knowledge, school system, university system, very unsystematic learning of life skills, creativity, innovation, communication, problem solving. That's not systematically integrated in the curriculums of the school system, the educational system. But there are a lot of people who are working on this. So, but this is a process that's already more than 2 decades. Huh? I mean, the movement of 21st century skills, that's about 20 years ago. And then we have positive character traits, so fundamental values. So blending these three types of content, in this there is almost nothing actually systematic. So the challenge becomes how to blend them. And then the challenge is also that the system, the life-long learning, which is well known, it must also be accompanied by life-wide learning, which is education in all places. So we need to understand education and learning as something which is really holistic. It doesn't happen in just one place. No? So it's life-wide, it's lifelong, and it's life-deep in the sense that it's transformative. It really need to change our behavior, connecting again to the global challenges that I mentioned at the beginning. No? I think the global challenges require this type of education. So here you have the well-known 7 C's of the 21st century lifelong skills. Critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, cross-cultural understanding, communication, computing, career, learning, self-reliance. So this is something that is now...
Sorry, what is the definition of life skills?
Life skills.
Yes.
The life skills are all those knowledge like creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship. It's not a standardized knowledge that you just memorize.
It's not personal, it's for the society.
Well, it's personal and collective. It's personal and towards society, no? Because you exercise entrepreneurship towards society. But you also exercise entrepreneurship towards yourself, right? This is an important element of the connection between the two. Because you as a person, more and more, the turbulences of the environment are requiring people to be entrepreneurial about themselves. No, because the career world is no longer stable as it used to be. So there's a lot of now discussions about the transformation of the career journey into life journeys. So how you want to manage your life. So entrepreneurship, creativity, imagination, all this becomes quite prominent now, right? Instead, I mean, the education that we know is fundamentally about transmitting. Pumping knowledge, facts into people's minds. No? So then you have the character. Without entering into, I come in from Italy, where all these things are, are a big wish. No, trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, integrity, compassion, citizenship. This is a movement in America. It's called character count. Now, what we argue in terms of the life education for life, that this layer is very fundamental to arriving to a transformation of society, right? So these are the 3 layers, and this is what Howard Gardner has said, basically. This is the theorist of multiple intelligences in education. In 2005, he wrote the book 5 Minds for the 21st Century, where he speaks of a disciplined mind. So we need to have the knowledge, we need to have a profession, we need to be excellent at a certain trade. But at the same time, because of the huge amount of information and knowledge that is arriving into society with open data, big data, in the future, a synthesized mind becomes very, very important. The ability to distinguish among all that material and to be able to use the knowledge and information for your purposes. A creative mind, fundamentally about problem solving, innovation, creativity. A respectful mind, this is a mind for cultural diversity. It's a mind that is respectful of the diversity of the others. In fact, not just respectful, I think it should see in the others the potential for a greater enrichment of your own development. And then an ethical mind, which is very much into the area of active citizenship, responsible citizenship, so ecological, environmental, etc. So this is a kind of a background, no? And this is what we are trying to build. I was telling Francis that I'm from the University of Edinburgh, but I left the university, although I still work for the university, I left it physically, because in Rome, I have help create a foundation where we can work in these type of things, no? Trying to create an entire ecosystem, not just the research element, which is so prevalent in universities, no? So here we are talking an ecosystem for education for life, problem solving, and open social innovation. Innovation, in a sense, is obviously a place, no, an activity, a process for educational experience of life skills, because innovation requires imagination, invention, problem solving. So it's an environment. As a process, it provides an environment for learning this type of skills, no? But in my case, what is most important is actually open and social innovation, because open and social innovation also brings an ethics into it, brings a way of working together, a way of publishing and contributing things to society. And social innovation in particular, you will see, is about really changing the territories and the communities to improve the life of people. So it's even richer from the point of view of the three dimensions I have spoken before, right? Okay, so this is the emerging ecosystem and the areas we are working. We have created, actually, the first thing is the organizational instrument itself. So that's the foundation. And this is the reason why the university could, as I saw it, the university could not be that organizational environment. So we have created the organizational environment to be able to do all the other things, which are the theories. Here there's a very strong link, obviously, with the university. Then there's a dedicated physical virtual infrastructure, the content and the tools, and multiple projects and initiatives. So let's move into the organizational instrument, which is the Fondazione Mondo Digitale, was born about a decade ago in Rome. Now, we work at the crossroad of innovation, education, inclusion, and values. Most of our projects involve the four elements. We work very much at the schools. We work with hundreds of schools. We're deeply rooted into the school system of Italy, right? But we work with international companies, SMEs, Italian NGOs. So there's an entire network of organizations that we are working with, but the school is our privilege, really our privilege, and in fact is the key also to get funding for projects, because we are always offering projects which are going deeply into the world of schools. In Italy, it's much easier to go into the world of schools than, for instance, in Britain. In Britain, it's almost impossible for an NGO to really work with the world of schools. In Italy, there is a space because there is quite a lot of decentralization, and teachers have the right to create projects which have a social content. And in that area, which is accredited, we have managed to enter. So it's a problem of governance. We develop a lot of material, video lessons, manuals, online environments, books, articles, case studies. So there's a lot of production of knowledge objects to be able to operate with the scope that we are pursuing. And as I said, I mean, a lot of actors. We have projects with companies, with national government, local government, regional governments, European projects, you name it. Wherever there is an opportunity, we move very fast. Then this is project areas. You see access and recycling. This is all about computing. So we have created in schools labs for recycling, and these computer recyclers are taken into older people centers, so places where there is no access to computing. Well, anyway, students with special needs, gender equal opportunities, active aging, immigrants, refugees, bedridden, sick, 21st century education, education and robotics, this is a large area, and social education and innovation for life. Two big pillars, ICT for education and inclusion. And it's the blend of the two worlds that is all our project areas, right? So everything that we are doing theoretically and in terms of development of tools is actually has sense. In fact, it has sense only if it's right here. If we were to stop in the development, it wouldn't be the reason of the foundation. The foundation, we have always said, must be one step from touching the life of people, real people. And in comparing with the university, we work with an approach which is actual research, development and implementation. In the university, a lot of my work was basically about theory, research, and publications. I did a lot of work on my own with the European community, consultancies, etc. But this area was completely missing. The area of developing the theories into instruments as a way of diffusing that knowledge into society. I mean, the Americans are very good at this. For instance, Michael Porter. Michael Porter created the diamonds of 5 forces for competition, and those theories immediately become part of a company. So he has actually a company called Monitor for $250 million, no? Because immediately they are managed to make an enterprise and transform that into the tools which are necessary then for the application of the theories into real world, no? And then obviously the other part is the projects and initiatives which I was saying, I was explaining the areas, and also I was explaining that inclusion and schools. And now we are moving very heavily into territorial and community development, because in Italy there are 46% of youngsters are unemployed now, no? Under 25. In Spain it's 50%, in Greece it's another 50%. So there is a lot of demand that's coming from the European Union for areas, projects, areas which are about growth, about employment. And a lot of the money from structural funds and also from projects going with that slant into it. So therefore we are creating more systemic, the bits and pieces that we have created in all sorts of areas, we are putting them together now in larger systematic initiatives. Okay, that's the instrument, the foundation is the first instrument of the system. Then is the theories. Now in the theories, basically, what I've been trying to do is that the theories which I have developed at Edinburgh University, which are the socio-technical constituencies and alignment, which I will explain very now, have moved into social innovation. So from technological innovation, have evolved into social innovation, and then have evolved into how social innovation, open innovation, becomes the experiential environment to develop education for life. In other words, going back to the first statement, the collective changes of consciousness and behavior. Okay? So let's see how the theories are integrated. What are socio-technical constituencies? No? In fact, I mean, if this is an answer to the question of what is the nature of innovation. You know, what is it that you do when you do innovation? You build socio-technical constituencies, right? That's the answer. And these are the dynamic ensemble of technical constituents, for example, machines, instruments, and social constituents, for example, organizations, interest groups, which interact and shape each other in the course of the creation, production, and diffusion of specific technologies. This is it. Okay. Then comes the next. That's a little bit blur. Okay, that's a diagram. It's the first diagram I wrote about it. And because it was technology, you have technology at the center of it, right? You are building a product, a service, a method. It's technology that you want to push into society. So in building it up, you know that there are physical opportunities and limits. Yeah, this is part of a debate that there was at the time about whether negotiation could achieve almost everything. There is, I don't know whether you know, there's a theories, actor network theories, where there was a little bit of a rejection of any determinism. Nothing is deterministic, right? I don't believe that, right? I believe that once, like in a chess, once you have moved a piece, that determines your next move, okay? So if you have created the technology, what is true is that all technologies are socially constructed, right? If there were not to be humanity, there is no technology. Therefore, all technologies, by definition, are socially constructed. But once that technologies begin to evolve into society and become institutions, no, they become, pick for instance, standard. No? Once a standard has become a standard, it begins to impinge on you. Okay? If you want strategically to make room for your technology, if you don't have massive resources, you better align with the standard. Okay? So the technology begins to kind of fossilize the alternatives that you have. No? So then, okay, human, material, financial, time, space resources are mobilized into all sorts of organizations, companies, well, in this case, there were universities, lobbying group, financial institutions, and all this happen in an environment where you are interacting with other socio-technical constituencies in context of market and technical trends, legislation, and historical circumstances and pressures. So, in a sense, it relates very much to the kind of complexity, organizational complexity that you were most with. But that's a static picture. Then the next question is, and how do you build socio-technical constituencies? And this is where the process becomes a little bit more dynamic, because this is processes of socio-technical alignment. And this is a process of creation, adoption, accommodation, adaptation, and close or loose interaction in the relation of technical and social factors and actors which underlie the emergence and development of identifiable quantities. But the thing that's important here is the diamond of alignment, because this tells you how do you play the game, right? First of all, the alignment game, when you are trying to build an innovation, you play in 4 directions. You are always aligning people to people, right? You're always persuading others that your technology, I mean, this could be customers, it could be a banker, it could be whatever. But you're also aligning the person with technology, with the technology of the innovation, right? This means, for instance, if there is a technology that is not well known, okay, you develop a course, you develop material, you do the training to people, so you're aligning the people to learn about how to use your technology. And the opposite, you align technology of the innovation with the person. So when, for instance, all the area of human interfaces, user-friendliness, when you are searching to make easy your technology for people to use, you're trying to align your technology to people. And then obviously technology with technology, as I was saying, the standards, for instance, typical case where you're aligning technology to technology. So this game is in play all the time, right? And it's not necessarily convergent, because you may align the technology to a person, but you may misalign the person with the person. So it's something that you cannot control in the sense of a convergence.
Is it your distinctions, or does it come from? Is it from you? This.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
No, this is all published. So I mean, but then how do you go about it? Okay, this is you. Okay, this is your constituency. The constituency can be an idea and one person when it was born. But that idea needs to start going out, okay? That idea also is related to technology. It's not the same thing to build a constituency around a chair as a product than to build a constituency around a telecom network, right? This is where the nature of the technology begin to impinge on the strategies that you pursue. For instance, if you produce a computer, but if you are not able to align software developers who will build I mean, like, for instance, now there are so many new game platforms coming in, no? But if you don't have the games, the software developers, that community is useless. I mean, you have created something that has no use. The same thing with the guys who have created the game, but if they don't have a platform, I mean, there is no use. So there are many characteristics of the technology. I wrote a paper actually about the nature of the technical, identifying a series of technology genotypes. Technologies which are science-based, others are not science-based. Anyway, there is an entire set of characteristics that you can choose. So you are this, right? if your technology is mature, it's much different than when your technology is an emerging technology and people don't know it. Okay? So anyway, this area is the constituency. Now, if you want to build a constituency, your alignment game, it takes you to, okay, I have my target constituents. So these are all the people who I want to have with me, but are not with me yet. Okay? So these could be customers, could be funders. I mean, Francis and I know very well that searching for funding is permanently target constituent. But then that game happens inside governances. Right? There are rules of the game. It's not free for all. The market has its own rules, the European Commission has its own rules, how to write the project, how to submit it, there are deadlines. So there is a world of governance that is part of the interactions, or is not controlling, but is influencing the way in which the interactions. And if you don't know the governance, you may run the risk of really making big mistakes. Okay? And then there is the interacting constituencies. So these are other people who are also building constituencies. So if I build a game, there's another guy who has just built a game which is similar. We are interacting. This is very cognitive in a sense, no? Because I can perceive that person as a competitor, but I can also perceive it as a collaborator. Why? Because if both of us are small, we may decide to make an alliance to try to enlarge the cake, so that both of us can have a bigger piece of the cake. Or I can see him as a completely antagonistic, and this guy is going to eat my bread. And I'm using words that of some research I've done in the past, of people telling me, oh no, but this guy is going to eat my bread. Yeah, but shouldn't you enlarge the cake? I mean, so there's a lot of, there's no rigidity in this, no? The fact is that in the world in which you are emerging, there are always interacting constituencies which can be collaborative or competitive. And in the end, there is the nature of the target problem. And this is very important because many times to align a person, for instance, funders, no? This is very common inside companies. If I want to sell my idea inside the company, I cannot say that my product will be in 6 years' time if the company has a short-term perspective, right? If the company works at the most with 3 years, there's no point in me going there and tell the boss, hey, my product will be in 6 years. So I can say, no, my product will be in 2 years and a half. It's almost there. Or 3 years at the most. Okay, I have aligned the person, I got my resources, I'm on. Okay? But a lot of the times, people know that that's not true, right? So there's a small deception in the building game, because what you expect is that in 3 years' time you would have advanced so much that another year probably wouldn't matter, or even 2. You will negotiate again. Okay? You are in, you exist. But if the problem is really intractable, it may well be that what you have promised will never happen. Now, the history of technology is full of these things. I don't know whether you remember, one of the saddest stories was the Apple Messenger, the Messenger Pad. You remember that? It was a product that was sold, as a personal digital assistant. And in the end, the technology was not there, and the frontier was not there for the time when they thought it would be there. So marriages were broken, the people wouldn't leave, they were working at Temple Swiss. It was a huge drama, the thing. In the end, collapsed. No? It came out into the market, but it came out so for all you had promised, for all the expectations and the hype, hype, we know that technology is full of hype. All the hype, that process eventually collapsed. They couldn't deliver. So the nature of the target problem and entering into the risk analysis of problems becomes very important. So this is the more dynamic view of the constituency building. This is how you build the constituency. Okay, what I was showing is was only one dimension, because that dimension I was showing It could be a constituency inside the company, okay? Or like your department inside the university, okay? But then you can have outside, you can have clusters, you can have interact. There are many type of situation in which you find it. So this is an example of a technology that goes from intra-company level to program level. So this it could be inter-organizational agreement and clusters. So I mean, the basic diamond can grow up and can zoom in and zoom out, and zooming in and zooming out has its own reality. Because if you are working inside a company, it will be different, the governance, as if you are working in an inter-company, because the governance becomes now an inter-governance, inter-organizational governance, right? So, social innovation, that theory now has moved into social innovation, because that's a theory of innovation. So, fundamentally, the social innovation is who benefits, and the social becomes the determinant, right? Social innovation benefits either society as a whole, as in the case of public education, or the most disadvantaged sectors of the population. It's not a commercial innovation for personal profit or for organizational profit. It's an innovation which is more generous, right? Or people also talk about civic innovation when it concerns the public sector. It's solved more for the public good, right? This has become very important now in the context of the European Commission. So who benefits? Entire society or segment of disadvantaged people. What is innovated? The same things as technology. Technology, product, process, method, organizational, business, governance models. There's a huge amount of organizations emerging right now in the world of social innovation, to start with social enterprises, which is a new entity that is for profit, but is for social. So the profit is not translated into dividends for the owners. The profit is reinvested to continue to do greater social activities. And what kind of problems? Poverty, health, education, disability, urban requalification, active aging, youth inclusion, you name it. These are all areas which you would call more social or for public good. And what is the difference? Okay, this is in between. One of the big differences is that for the big problems, the social challenges, like environment or active aging or the transformation of the public sector, is multi-sectoral. It's no longer just the alliance between inter-organization, between inter-companies, right, or university industry. Now the alliances tend to be between all sectors. So social sector, like foundations or NGOs, public sector, that's government, educational system, etc. For-profit sector, so these are companies, corporate social responsibility, and community sectors. So these are the organizations that live in the community, old people centers and churches, so the real organizations which are basically in the territories, right? So they tend to come together. So the ability to do effective social organization becomes more complex because now there's a much larger blend of governances. So you need to operate into a context of intergovernance where the alignment process is really going into many organizations, as it was not the case before. And education for life, okay, this is now going from that area, no? I will remind you that when I was talking, I see it now as an educational environment, social innovation, open innovation, all that for me becomes part of the educational system now, right? And the education for life. So you start with the person. Now we go right down into the person. And when you see that the personal sphere, normally the person is actually not the result of many things. And many things are, this is the area where the person is talent, passions, state of flow, no? This is what one searches for. The state of flow, the utmost state of creativity where, no, as the name says, one is flowing in the sense of capacity, in the sense of motivation and all sorts of things. So in this area, you are dealing with imagination, creativity, critical thinking. So you can see the connection with life skills. But at the same time, a lot of obstacles need to be tackled. No? So in these obstacles, we have the fears. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of being wrong, fear of ridicule. Now this is very real, right? Talking to teachers in Italy, if there are 46% of youngsters unemployed, one teacher was saying to me, the problem is that the youngsters don't see themselves in the other 50%. They see that possibly they will be in the 46. So there is an entire area of expectations and motivation, aspirations, the self-efficacy that we were talking before, that need to be tackled between these two here, right? Then obviously you have families and friends. This is a term that Ken Robinson uses. Ken Robinson is a kind of guru of creativity. So he talks about the tribe. And the tribe is the people who do the same things that you do, who share the same passion, the same motivation, so they can become, they can share values with you, they can offer inspiration, validation. So building your tribe becomes an important part of building your journey for life, and therefore becomes an important part of the education for life. No? And then you have mentors, coaches. I mean, these are people who can change your life, maybe by meeting you one day and having a talk where they can see, it makes you see the world in a different way, right? So all this is part of, not always, no, but it's part of what should be your personal sphere. I mean, many people don't ever know a mentor or a coach or master, right? So starting with this, we go and we use the same approach for the constituencies, but now for the person, okay? So there is a fundamental unity between the constituency building, the socio-technical alignment process of innovation, and your own education for life. Okay? So here you have now, instead of having the constituencies, it's you. So the personal constituencies, perceptions, this is you now. And the technology is also important, especially now because technology is impinging absolutely in our life. I mean, the concept of extended mind that we were talking yesterday is absolutely integrated now with our perceptions and how we see the world. So again, so now this is you. This is you as a personal constituent, as the constituency of the person now, not the constituency of the technology. And you are also trying to enroll people who should help you in your life, right? Or enroll people who, for instance, if you have a PhD, right, and you will come to your exam, your target constituencies are your examiners, right, the jury. You need to persuade them that what you have done is good enough, so they come on your side and they say, okay, we give you the PhD. They have the power to block you or to help you. So you also have your targets, no? There is also the governance in which you are developing. So we know, I said at the beginning, there is a rapidly changing environment of science and technology organization. So the governance of today is much different from when I grew up. I mean, this is a completely different world, right? And then you also have the interacting personal constituency with your colleagues, your family, your peers, and the nature of your target problem. Okay? You may want to be a politician, you may want to be an entrepreneur, so you may have a target, or you may not have it. And that's also part of the nature of your target problem. You don't have it. Right? So now, if we put them together, you have education for life, and you have, from education for life, your personal development as a constituency building process of socio-technical alignment connected with the socio-technical constituencies of the alignment process of building an innovation, where the innovation becomes part of the experiential learning, your experiential education. No longer the education sitting in a room where somebody transmitting. Is about active learning, going out, building the world, and building yourself. Okay? So let me tell you now, I will go now a little bit faster because we have created the physical, a dedicated structure for this type of education for learning. So first of all, the virtual innovation gym, we call it, is virtual because there's a blend and complete integration between physical and virtual. Virtual is seeing the world in a completely integrated way, right? So if you want to prepare strategies with everything that is in the virtual world now, it's absolutely important to learn to blend strategically the physical and the virtual, okay? So we call it the virtual innovation gym. And the virtual innovation gym is an environment for problem solving, open social innovation and education for life. It's a gym for the experiential learning and practice of innovation in all senses, technological, social, and civic innovation. It's a space open to the territory, the school world, companies, universities, where the collective energies and intelligence can be mobilized, right? A place of encounter between traditional and new professions, where the language of fabrication, traditional and digital experimentation and creativity converge to stimulate personal and professional growth, entrepreneurship, and the exercise of 21st century skills and fundamental values. This is how we see it, in a visionary sense. It starts by making use of the simple formula for innovation. Innovation in the Anglo-Saxon world is a long time that is invention plus implementation, or ideation plus implementation. Of course, the ideation process is hugely complex and rich, and the implementation is even worse in terms of complexity. So here we have our in Italian it's palestra della innovazione, no? The innovation gym. So this is a physical place with an activity space, a robotic center, ideation gym, fab lab, another ideation gym, and workshop rooms, etc. The ideation gym will start with the self-awareness and self-efficacy. Basically, we use LIMS. LIMS is no, that's in Italian. La Magna Interattiva is the whiteboard, interactive whiteboards. And we have developed a survey, which is projected through SurveyMonkey, and the students in any school, they can vote the questionnaire with the cellular, and the graphics comes automatically immediately. So you can have collective discussions about the fears, how they see themselves, no? About their trust in the system. For instance, the trust in the system in Italy is zero. I don't have any trust whatsoever. So that's part of the governance. But I mean, this is the exercise that we start with, no? An area for the development of that collective self-awareness. Who am I now, no? What is it that's blocking me? These are complex processes, but it's the start, no? Then we have collaborative problem solving. You know that the industry has developed over many years many tools, no? These are converging into the total quality management movement, the Six Sigma. So these are simple visualization tools, right? Like the problem trees, or the issue trees, or the 5 whys. For instance, this is 5 why, right? 5 why, this is a Japanese engineer who realized that if there was a problem, by asking 5 times why, you could arrive to root causes. So this is all about root causes, okay? So it's useful for certain type of problems. Okay, it may be 4 times, maybe 6 times, but it's why. So get deeper, no? There is another one which is about why, how, when, who, etc. No? And so this is all related on the fact that most of the time what we see as the problem is just the symptom, no? Is the effect of the problem. And about 80% of the real problem is hidden, like the iceberg, no? So what we do, in this case, for instance, we put together artisans, no, with the youngsters, and the artisan challenge the groups of youngsters with problem solving, a real problem from their trade, and we put them to work in groups for team building, and then we give them the tools, like the issue tree or the problem tree, that enables them to identify the solution scenario by working together. And if you have 5 or 6 groups in a class, in the end, the solution scenarios of the 5 or 6 groups accumulate into one scenario, which is really very close to the solution that the artisan had in mind. If there's a missing something because of the trade, the artisan is there to provide that little bit. So this is based on the solidarity of artisans who are willing to devote time to go there to help train the students in this type of education. So this is fundamental about problem solving and creativity. Knowing that by working together you can arrive to solutions, knowing that you have the power of creativity to arrive to solutions, right? That go back into self-awareness in terms of the in terms of the expectation of what you can do with your brain and by working together. Then there is another area where we use the Lego serious play. This is a Lego kit of about 2,000 and something pieces. Lego has developed for companies. So this is used to solve company crises, for projects, all sorts of things. Basically what you're doing is that you are aligning perceptions all the time while you're playing. So you communicate your perception by building it. And that starts with different constructions that can converge into one single strategic construction, and that's allowed. I mean, it's sessions for this. So these are different ways of thinking, entertainment, playing, and again, team building, creativity, innovation, skills, etc. No? Then we have a place where we use tools like this one. This is called Zome tool, which are for any type of people. No, we can say to them, okay, here there are 2 groups. Your challenge. Sorry, that's my. I will switch it off. So basically, you build a bridge. Here you have 2 tables. Build a bridge, and they enter into the dynamic of creating a solution as a group. You can make the task as complex as you want. You can say do it blindfolded. And so suddenly, I mean, the thing is quantum leaping in complexity. But the issue here is to learn about team building, is to learn about teams, because after they have struggled, they have managed to find a solution, or they have failed to find a solution, we are creating didactic material to have the entire discussions about what is a team, what are the roles that emerge in different teams, what is the effective team, how teams evolve in time. So there is a knowledge, an accumulated knowledge, that then is transmitted, no? And it's another game, which is called 2Bs. It's more physical, right? So for instance, this one, all these people, there is a pen here. So they're trying to write together one word or whatever, no? So I mean, again, a new dynamics emerge, which enables the participation of knowledge, no? The ability to then explain what was really going on. Then we have the Fab Lab and the Robotics Center. So this is the Fab Lab. We have the most advanced Fab Lab of Rome with 3D printers, laser cutters, all sorts of machines. And here, this is other type of plotter. This is a milling machine. Here, what we do now, we have begun to do with primary schools are beginning to come to the Fab Lab to learn, for instance, soldering, and to create an electric circuit, which is a toy. So they learn a little bit of electronics, they learn soldering, they make. This belongs to the makers movement idea, right? The MIT movement that came out of the idea of the 3D printer, but now this is much more complex, an entire workshop, because the prices are collapsing. And this allowed equipping people for rapid prototyping, for the idea of failing forward. Failing quickly, failing forward. So don't expect to have now the product prototype, maybe you will never have it. Before, a prototype could cost you 1,500 euros, as it used to happen to the architects. Now these things cost 15 euros, okay? Okay, you may have a rough prototype, but you are in the dialogue, putting something on the table. And if you fail, okay, fail, but fail quickly. Move quickly to the next step. So fail forward, okay? So this is part of this environment, the robotics center. This is completely subscribed by schools, playing at all sorts of levels. Coding, building up the robots, basically preparing them for the skills for an industry which is in Italy is very important. No? The robotics industry is very strong in Italy. Then, I mean, one thing we normally stress is that you know that a lot of spaces have emerged. No? In the crisis, people who are alone, professionals, now, for instance, co-working spaces. No? Co-working spaces, people just go there and work together. They have computers, but they can blend and discuss. There's co-living spaces where people work and live together. But what we are emphasizing here is that we cannot ignore, it's not just by bringing people together that the creative things happen, in the sense that you can ignore the accumulated knowledge, right? There are decades of accumulated knowledge in creativity, in team building and leadership. That material needs to be codified as there's huge amount of wisdom, okay? All this is knowledge which is available to be put together inside this environment. And for us, this is a place where this is a place where I walk every day, okay? This is the aqueduct, the Roman aqueduct, built 2,000 years ago. So, the innovation gym, for me, doesn't finish inside the rooms I have shown you. It's actually completely open to the territory, and because of Rome, it's completely full of inspiration, like this one. This is what it means. In terms of symbols, it means quality, 2,000 years still standing. It means team building. It means excellence. It means vision. So many things, right? So, part of the self-efficacy, the self-awareness part of it, the motivation, we need to use the symbols which other generations have created. And that, at that point, the innovation gym expanded right into the territory, which is just, in fact, this is just in front of us. Very deeply rooted in the territory. Most of the activities, we need to know the geoeconomics of the territory. This is the area where we are. We need to know where are the artisans, where are the shopkeepers, and all the institutions, so that we can really bring the innovation gym into the territory. And it's completely connected to the world. This is where the virtual.org environment. This is a virtual social innovation website. Okay, we have now added a crowdfunding. So the projects that we are challenging the school kids to develop, we are taking them into virtual, but we need to also train them to operate virtually, so that their idea can connect into the world as much as possible, can connect with different forms of funding, crowdsourcing. So many things that you really need to learn now if you're going to be successful, in the decades to come. So virtual.org is part as a virtual dimension of the environment we're talking about. And we are developing what we call a solidarity cloud, where all the didactic area will be included, but we want to create, remember I talked to you about the artisans, the volunteer artisans. Well, we want to create communities of artisans and managers and artists. All of them will come into this area of the Solidarity Cloud, which will blend. It's a support environment for the education for life. Okay? So, just in the end, content and tools. Okay, we develop manuals, video lessons, video fictions, virtual. This is part of the blood that moves around. And we are working with the concept of 5Ms, which are microenvironments that I believe that in the future, in the same way that existed the encyclopedia, no, with the definitions and there was text and graphic, in the future, with everything that's emerging in terms of apps and games and videos and whatever, open content, big data, we will be able to create microenvironments around concepts. And this environment will be multimedia, multidimensional, multi-role, multi-didactic, and therefore it's the 5Ms, right? I will show you, okay, this is the idea. Again, multidimensional in the sense of our multiple intelligences. Some people learn better with arts. Some people learn better with math. Some people learn better with physical exercises, okay? A multi-role, so you can be a poet. You can be, a philosopher. So multi-role, multi-didactic in the sense that you can choose the way in which you start your didactic, and multimedia, which is better known. So there will be individual 5Ms and collections of 5Ms to assemble into courses and more complex activities. And you will be able to choose between unstructured ways of teaching, self-organized learning, like in the metro. You enter wherever you want, you come out wherever you want. Okay? So an open, self-organized learning concept. Or you can structure the courses in a more directed way. I think this probably depends on the age that you have, right? So you can blend the two. Here you have a 5M. This is in Italian. So basically what you have here, this is we have it in PowerPoint. The 5Ms are the entire dimension of problem solving, starting with a definition of what is a problem, what is a solution, all the root cause tools and all that, arriving into theories of innovation and entrepreneurship. So here what we have here, this is poetry, this is humor, so this is cartoons and this is wisdom, and this is all the definitions. In other 5Ms, there are different things, videos and games and all these type of things. No? So this is one, cos'è un problema? Cos'è un problema, what is a problem? So it's the first one for the definition of what is a problem. So this is what we are trying to build. This is what we have so far, a range of them. These are Prezi, but they are Prezi and PowerPoint. Then we are developing tools. The socio-technical alignment diamond I showed to you is becoming an app in the sense that the dimensions can be measured, and therefore you can have a result of this nature, okay? Where it will tell you where the strengths and weaknesses of your own process of socio-technical alignment, where are they? So it's a strategy tool, but it's a strategy tool for the process as it exists today, or as you want it that exists tomorrow, right? So that's another, okay, this one was related, for instance, to governance, okay? In this case, it was a case of a school. So, for instance, inside the school, was there an encouragement to new didactics? So the reward system becomes an important part. If in a school nobody encourages innovation, if the teachers who are innovators are not rewarded, are punished for that, and that's very common, then obviously it will be here, right? And that will be a completely, something to work on, will be a weakness. Student participation, normally students are very good. They want to participate. No? So this was not a bad case. It's a real case. Huh? This is the alignment with target competence. So you can see, for instance, here, he was not very kind with senior management. He saw senior management as kind of, yes, but not much. No? The administrative personnel, but in this case, for instance, the head of the school was very strongly behind innovation. And the students and the teachers were behind. So you can measure these things into 36 categories. And then you have the projects, just to mention them, these are a European project. Here, basically, we have developed a curriculum. And we are developing teams of youngsters and older people. Young and old will work in teams for projects to improve their communities. And in the process, they will go through problem solving, the tools that explain the business plan, etc. Right? This is a project where we're blending youngsters with artisans. This we're blending pensioners with youngsters. And this is just 18 upper secondary schools, which are working together in teams all over Italy. In fact, teams have emerged, and in the end, 30 projects were submitted to a competition, all of them developed by teams of older people. And the future, the innovation gym, in different configurations, we will start working to take them into schools so that they become realities inside the schools. In the same way that existed a physics lab, the chemistry lab, in the future, I think, the start of the transformation of the schools will be a space, which is an innovation gym. So we will launch a kind of challenge to the world of the schools, using the virtual environment, the crowdsourcing, to make this kind of networks, the spread of the things, a reality. And that's it. Thank you.